Hi everyone. Just a heads up that this podcast does contain explicit language throughout, so if you are listening with underage listeners, please beware. I hope you enjoy the podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the EMJ PGA Podcast. This is episode 6. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for listening. We are back. This is our 5th week of recording these podcasts now. 4 weeks in actual real time because it hasn't been over a month that we've been putting these out. But our 5th time sitting down and recording these podcasts. The weeks are flying by, to be honest with you. We're having a blast doing this. I'm definitely having a blast when Monday rolls around, as I previously said. I'm always looking forward to recording the podcast. I deliberately don't talk to Ben much about the golf that's just happened and about the stuff that we might record in episode 7, which will be coming out on Thursday, our little sort of fantasy draft games where we have a bit of fun. I won't give away what we're going to do in this episode 7, but we come up with a couple of scenarios in which we can have a bit of a chat, but I deliberately don't speak to Ben in that time so we can sit on here and just give our organic viewpoints on the golf that's just happened, the golf that's upcoming, etc., etc. So I very much hope that you're enjoying listening to the things that we've got to say. One of us, which we'll come on to later on in the podcast, one of us, you definitely want to be paying attention to what they've got to say regarding some of the predictions, because unbelievable quality of predictions as of late. And we want to sort of shine a light on that. We want you to be listening because we want to give away some tips. Okay, I won't give away about who's coming up with those quality predictions just yet, but it may or may not be Ben Hartshorn, who sat to my right just now. Ben Hartshorn, welcome back to the podcast. How are you feeling this week?
Very good. Thank you for having me back on again. I hope everyone had a good weekend. We're back again after another great prediction from me. Has been followed through with a win, and when one of us does predict a win, it'll be a big podcast. It'll be a big day, and I'll be fascinated to know if we do predict a winner this year. But yeah, great to be back after another weekend of terrible weather. But as we might just quickly talk about, I did play some golf this weekend, some competitive golf. Me, JK, and Ollie Barrett played skins on Saturday, and that is a version of golf, not what we did that night. But we with our referee Dino Zaptes, and we had a good game of skins, and the winner, if you wanted to know, who hopefully you'll be listening, was JK. JK shooting 1 over through 12 holes. Hasn't picked up a club for 6 months, he thought. And made like 2 birds and just played really well and beat us, like just won every skin pretty much because I gave him like 4 shots. So
Fair play to Jude Kelly. He's got a lot of similarities with the winner on tour that we're going to talk about later on in many ways. 1, because he plays the high fade, and 2, because some of his facial features, I definitely say, resemble that of a certain winner on tour. Both winners on tour, to be fair, that we're going to talk about in depth today. JK, fair play to him.
JK not actually playing the high slice. He seemed to be pulling it with his irons. I mean, we didn't, because we only played 12 holes. He didn't hit. I don't think he hit a driver, but definitely pulling across his irons. But then just finding a few putts, and just randomly played so well. And now he's back addicted to golf, which is the cycle of JK. So it was good. It was good. We enjoyed it.
With my and this is just a rule for me, and I do think there's something in this, like the professional sort of sensible hat coming on now. Like now, JK's expectations like absolute up here, and I always find that with like the first round back, like I've tried to play into that in a couple of tournaments as of late, which is very unprofessional of me. Like I've got into the last couple of tournaments knowing that first round where I get back out on the golf course, because I wouldn't say I'm that nervous, but I'm probably that focused on just not making a fool of myself, I actually end up like with a semi-tolerable score half the time. And what you do then, you have that first round and you think, oh my God, off of very little practice, off of very little tournament or course reps, I'm up here now. So the sky's the limit. And then that second one comes, because you're straight into it. That second one comes, you start slow, and all of a sudden the toys come out the pram. Fingers crossed that doesn't happen for JK, but I would just say that I'd guard against that. Do you find that? Do you find that when you don't practice practice you play all right, or are you a
Yeah.
bit more, you warm up into it?
Yeah, I like to, I always think, and I think you get this. I think in the midst of summer with our big rounds, our big competitions that we aim for, I feel like always over golfing all the time. And so actually like the best rounds often come for me personally is in April, when you've had those 5 months off and you suddenly you just bang straight back into it. You have no swing thoughts. You don't remember the issues you were having in previous. And actually, yeah, you're dead right. You come in and you come back on the heater, which JK hit. Not necessarily me and Barry are all right, but yeah, I often think over golfing is as big an issue as not golfing, and clearing that mind is a big thing, which is I think is a big help. And I think you're right with maybe trying to do that with a few tournaments, but you're playing on a different level to us. So I don't know how much that actually does work for you.
Yeah, obviously, I'm talking about this in the sort of in the vlog series that I'm doing in terms of how I'm going about my practice. But like when I go out on the golf course, I find it a lot easier if I've not practiced enough and then I turn to a very weak spinny fade, but I know I'm going to hit that the whole way round. And if I know I'm going to hit that the whole way round, and I'm
Mm,
not overcomplicating trying to maybe shape the ball both ways, or I'm trying to flight shots in, like if I've only got one shot in the bag, you often find that you can get
yeah.
around the golf course a little bit easier. So for fair play to JK, because I'm always happy to hear that he's played well. And yeah, even if it was a little bit of a social knock, a little bit of a mess around, I'm so jealous of that. Now you just said that, I didn't know you'd been out of play. Was that Sunday?
Saturday, no, Saturday afternoon we played. I ran. We went to strength training inside, and then we were like, we've got to go and play golf. And we did like solid 2 hours before the rugby. So yeah, it was not. It's cold, but we got around.
Yeah, fair play. I'm trying to think what the weather was like. It was half tolerable on
It was
Saturday,
it
wasn't it?
was sunny and nice actually. It was just cold, so it was perfect.
Yeah.
And again, up at Stretton, I will always back Church Stretton. The course was absolutely fine. Bear in mind, it had the whole world's rain come down on it in the week. It was absolutely fine, and it was a busy day up
Yeah.
there. So yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah. I can second that. If you fancy a knock and you're in the Shropshire area, Church Stretton's your place, really. And as long as you don't mind a little bit a sloping lie for the
Yeah,
whole way round,
yeah.
Church Stretton is your Church Stretton's your place. It's absolutely fantastic and always in good nick after the bad weather. Bad weather was pretty much the underlying tone of the week at Pebble Beach this weekend. I didn't turn on the golf 1 point this weekend and not see it blowing a gale, raining, grey clouds. The sun came out for half an hour on Sunday when I watched it. Obviously, I wasn't across it, 12 hours a day for 4 days, but I saw the sun once at Pebble Beach. And don't get me wrong, when the sun did come out and the sea started to look blue, I thought, God, blimey, that looks unbelievable. When it wasn't out, it just shows how much the weather plays a part. When it wasn't out, I thought that just looked bang average, and I don't know if I can be asked to even go and I don't know if I'd be asked to even go and play it. But the man who mastered the conditions, which looking at it again, there's always after the fact you look at it and you go, we should have maybe looked into that a little bit. The Open Championship that Collin Morikawa, this weekend's championship one, wasn't played in the worst conditions. In fact, there was a massive heat wave that weekend in Kent when he won down at Royal St George's a few years ago. But he's someone who knows how to control his ball flight. He's someone who knows how to play in some relatively tough conditions. He breaks a duck of 847 days since his last win at the Zozo Championship in 2023. He's had a bit of a tough time, Collin Morikawa. He picks up the win. Ben, any thoughts?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think we both watched the final round. I actually think I watched Bataya's every hole in the final group, which I enjoyed, which was painful watching him. But Morikawa was in that group playing all right. And suddenly he just crept up, and was like, oh my God, he made two birdies on 15, 16, and he was there and he won it. Fair play to him because he took a lot of stick at the Ryder Cup. He was fucking awful. And he was poor at the Ryder Cup before that, I believe. So he's had a tough few years, Morikawa. He's a great iron striker, great meticulous golfer around that golf course. He is what you should base your game around, how he approaches the game. And he looks back on it, he looks a bit bigger. I feel like he's been to the gym a bit. He looks like he's back and ready to rumble. So yeah,
I
happy to see
completely
that.
agree. I completely agree. I looked
Yeah.
at him, and as someone who suffers from this myself, like I know how to put on weight better than the next man. Like I looked at him and I thought that doesn't look like that doesn't look like Morikawa. Like, even
No.
just in his face, like, he took his
Mm.
cap off for one moment, and I thought, what the hell's happened? And then he confirmed that. Like, he said some mad quote afterwards. He was like, "What's your secret?" He was like, "Well, I've put on 10 pounds of fat, and I've started watching swing videos on YouTube." He said, "I don't know if you, I don't,
I
as
didn't hear
mental as
that.
that is, but no, I saw that today, and I thought obviously the club golfer's going to absolutely love that quote. But I thought flipping up absolutely, and
Mm.
again, what does that give him? It maybe gives him a couple mile per hour swing speed. It maybe gives him a 3-4 mile per hour, 5 mile per hour ball speed. Um, Again, maybe in those conditions when you're translating it up, windy conditions. Does that help you necessarily if you're generating more spin? If you know how to control your ball flight, I suppose it does. But yeah, very impressive. His highlight of the week, third round, 62, 10 under par. Heater definitely in contention for heater of the week. He put himself right in the mix, and like you said, I thought you summed it up perfectly. He wasn't really a factor. Obviously, me and you both had eyes on Batia because he was your pick, and I was watching him like a hawk. He got off to a slow start and never really picked it up. And you were watching Morikawa and you were going, he's a factor, but then all of a sudden it became clear that it was either Burns or Morikawa at the top of the leaderboard that was gonna pick up the win, and Burns just never really turned it round, and it left Morikawa to reveal himself. Like you said, 15 and 16 I thought were key, great birdies there. He actually missed a chance on 14. He didn't
Mm.
capitalize on the par five 14th. That was after he made a really, really good par save on 13. Everyone was airmailing that green. Do you see them airmail the green? You see
Yeah.
Schlacker shot into 13, funnily enough. That was
Yeah.
absolutely catastrophic, that was.
Yeah. There was some awful shots into 30. I mean, Scheffler hit a similar shot to Straka, and they really got done by that hole. So yeah, it was strange.
Yeah, it was a weird one, and the commentators made a good point. He said that everyone's gone long of that green, and he went long too. And obviously, he's a really, really solid
Mm.
iron approach player, Morikawa. So that was interesting. But he saved par there because that looked like it was going to be a bogey, and that might have drawn others into contention. Your Minwoo Lees, even Batia's like might have been playing, Straka playing with him, thinking, we've got an opening here. But he didn't. He saved par and then birdie on 15, 16. Despite a bogey on 17, he had to wait an absolute age on 18. I mean, oh my God, I was ready to go to bed. And Bridgman down there on the beach. How the hell? That's unbelievable. I haven't put this in the rundown, but how he walks off with a six there. I know it's not about like the quality of the shots doesn't come into it. There's no picture on the scorecard, but when he rolls it in for a six and fair play to him, you go, just because of those two shots that I've just seen you hit, Bridgman, and the fact that it's taken you 40 minutes means that you deserve at least a seven there. Maybe that's just me being a bit pessimistic, but fair play to Morikawa. He picks up the win, and good to see because he went through five caddies last year, Morikawa. I watched him at the Scottish Open. He had Billy Foster on his bag, and
Really?
he always seems to be someone that I catch. Yeah, he always seems to be someone that I catch early on at the Scottish Open because when I'm there, I always try and get there as early as possible. They always put some big names out ridiculously early, and I watched him. And again, something they said on commentary, he looked miserable. He looked absolutely miserable. He had Billy Foster on his bag, and I thought this is not the player that I've again seen a couple of times in person myself when we've been to Opens. When I've been to Scottish Opens, he looks a bit more of a pep in his step, and he looked absolutely flat. And yeah, fair play to him for turning it round because that's a big thing, and to win at Pebble Beach is decent. With that in mind, do you factor him in for a couple of major championships this year, Morikawa?
We we seem to say this whoever wins every week. Do I fracture him? No. I thought his game was good. He only shot 5 under, didn't he, in the final day? So do I think he's at that level to compete with Scheffler and McIlroy? No. He hit some good iron shots. His shot into 17, he buckled under the pressure a little bit. It was tough wind across that 17. But then on 18, he did play the hole well. But I don't think he's at the level. I also think he's got bigger because I think he's fighting with demons that he thinks he needs to hit the ball further to compete. And I wonder if that won't help him. As you said about the caddies, I mean the caddy. I watched that Bridgman episode, which was painful to watch, and that caddy he did not stop talking to Morikawa for that whole like half an hour, and I knew it was a different caddy, I could tell, and I just thought that it was unbelievable. I was watching. They did not stop talking for half an hour straight. But fair play, they got the win. But no, I don't see him winning a major. I think he's a couple of years back off. winning another major. But he is starting to turn the ball right to left again, isn't he? Because he struggled. He always played the fade, so actually he did look a bit better, maybe playing that shot as well. And his putting looked a bit better because normally he's a terrible putter. So actually, don't know, but in my opinion, no.
Yeah, no, I agree. A really, really good point about the right to left sort of thing. So if you're playing in windy conditions, you've obviously, when a side wind kicks in, it's very, very hard to ride the wind. I thought he did that well. Even the shot on 18, like I was really prepared for a massive flare out to the right, and he held it up. He held it up really, really well. But when you're playing in windy conditions and you've got crosswinds, if you are a bit of a one shape, sort of one trick pony with that ball flight, all of a sudden a wind off that left side into off the left, that could become an absolute killer. So if you have the ability to turn the ball from right to left, take a few hundred RPM off the backspin and pierce that ball through the air, then that's a massive advantage, and it's something that he clearly had in the bag this week. Fair play to Morikawa. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't see him being a factor in the majors. He had a quote this week after he shot his 62. He said he tapped into the kid-like freedom to allow him to shoot the 62. Well, just like we were speaking about earlier with JK's golf, like that kid-like freedom, that's a finite feeling. Like it's Scheffler's not out there. You could look at Scheffler and go, oh, he looks like he's playing like a kid. But I feel like the structured, dominant performances come from structure. They come from having a thought. They come from having an idea of the way that you want to go about playing the golf course, an idea of the way that you want to swing the golf club. And kid like freedom's good. We want to tap into that. Obviously, being a McIlroy fan, I've heard him say that a good few times, and it leads to a couple of good performances, and then he dips off again. So I would be inclined to agree with you on Morikawa there, and I think you made some really, really good points on that as well. We are going to whittle through some of the contenders. There was a lot because the leaderboard was quite bunched together this week. I'm going to whittle through them quite quickly, just because I want to get to someone that you've already mentioned because you picked him last weekend, and I did feel bad for you because I did tune in on Sunday. I was really keen, even though I could do without you picking one correct before me. I was also supporting it as well, and I wanted you to get it right. So we'll come on to your man in just a moment. But Minwoo Lee, good performance. He's playing some good stuff. Always one of those players, Minwoo Lee. Obviously, the PGA Tour player now. He's won on tour. Hell of a character. Sometimes I think, like, are you trying too hard to be a character? But because of his Australian roots, I do think that he is just a bit loose as a guy. And he had a really, really solid week. His third round 70, only shooting too deep, setting back a touch when you've got characters like Morikawa going obviously 8 shots better on the day. That might have been the difference. He was a bit more of a steady burner throughout the week. Debuted a new putter though, a brand new putter from Odyssey that hasn't been released yet. It's called the TRTL, and it's Odyssey spin on the TaylorMade Spider. I'll be interested to see how popular that gets because he putted really well this week, Minwoo Lee. And so it'll be interesting to see. TRTL, I'm imagining that's abbreviated to turtle. I mean, what is it with if you make a putter now, a manufacturer has to name it after an animal. So the Odyssey have gone with the turtle, and it had a really good performance this week. Sepp Straka, weird performance on Sunday. I mean, he was all over the gaff for 13 holes, and then decides to get on a random heater. I mean, that 13th hole, I think he made bogey there. I'm pretty sure he made bogey from the back, or he might have made par. I can't remember. I think he made bogey, to be fair. But yeah, he made bogey because he hit the worst shot I saw all day actually into that 13th green. But then decides to finish 5 under through his last 5, eagle on the last to finish a joint second. Really like Straka's pre-shot routine. Obviously, you watched him yesterday, but obviously I like Aberg's pre-shot routine and the way he goes about his business. Straka genuinely stands over the ball and takes 0.75 of a second before he starts pulling the trigger. Like, he is quick to it, and definitely something that I want to take into my game this year, just being nice and brisk and to the point and nice and committed. So I thought Straka really good performance, and he's got a really nice swing, really nice under the wind sort of action there, low ball flight, which is good to watch. And then Scheffler, I'll defect to you for Scheffler because, I mean, it's almost an exact carbon copy of what we saw in Phoenix.
This is the first time I've watched Scheffler since the final day of the Open, since back last season, and he is special. Watch him on a Sunday, and it's sort of like it is what they used to see when Tiger was up one on the leaderboard, and people used to watch Tiger live. That feeling, that sort of that inevitability about him. And he made some bogeys on the back nine after a disgusting first 7 holes. He made 3 eagles. I mean, some players wouldn't make 3 eagles in half a season. He's made 3 in 1 round. And then just thought he sort of whittled away, started pushing too hard, which he admitted after the round, saying I was trying to go for it too hard when he was already 7 or 8 under. And then thought, no, you know what? Let's go make the most ridiculous eagle on the final hole to put everyone else under ridiculous amount of pressure. And I actually thought they would all fold. I thought they would fold. I thought Morikawa would fold on the final hole. Minwoo, to fair, did get to 21 under to beat Scheffler. But he is unbelievable. He's so relaxed. When he makes a mistake, the way he bounces back with birdies is incredible. As for McIlroy shot 8 under, and I'm sure you're about to come on to McIlroy, but he is just slightly a step above McIlroy. He does it way more consistently, and he is incredible. And I don't look at his shots and think, like, when his ball flies in the air, I think, like, it doesn't actually always look that great, but then it, like, just pops by the hole, or it pops in a position where it's just perfect. And I just think it's incredible. He will find a way to put the ball near the hole, and I suppose that Tiger used to do that. But McIlroy is a much prettier player over his good golf shots. But Scheffler's just disgustingly consistent, and so yeah, incredible from Scheffler.
Yeah, I think that shot into 18 was my favourite shot that I watched. I watched highlights the first 3 days, but that shot into 18 was just an absolute joke. I mean, the fact that, again, on my launch monitor that I use in my lessons, we take out the wind, we take out external conditions. So you look at it, and obviously there was a hurling wind off that sea, off that cliff edge. Inland, so the wind's obviously hitting him off the left, but just the way you can see the draw spin start, and then obviously as the ball loses power, it just starts dying towards the hole. I mean, it's just an absolutely ridiculous golf shot. Like you said, it's Tiger-like the way that he surges up the field. He's giving everyone a head start for a bit of a laugh, and I don't know why, because obviously we're taking the mick again by a little bit by saying that, but he gives everyone a head start and then scares the living daylights out of them. Like you said, there was one point where I thought he's at least going to be in the playoff here. With the weather getting a little bit worse. Unbelievable from Scheffler. That's 17 consecutive top 10 finishes on the PGA Tour now. I mean, when you look at, again, I always come on here and I say about the odds and stuff like that, because I don't put ridiculous money on. I just put like a pound on someone. But you look at the odds and it's like, to finish in the top 20, and it's like 20 to 1 on for Scheffler to finish in the top 20, and it's like, that is absolutely ridiculous. Like you said, McIlroy needed to shoot 8 under just to get, I'm pretty sure, 8th or just outside the top 10 this week. So incredible. And he's going to be a factor this week rolling into Riviera. Obviously, there were other contenders in there that didn't quite make the cut. Sam Burns hit an iron off 18, needing an eagle. Hit it in the bunker and only just made par. That was a weird moment from Sam Burns. So don't really know what happened with him. Again, him and Scheffler, Sam Burns and Scheffler are really, really good mates.
Yeah.
And I saw Scheffler's, and you probably saw it as well, Scheffler's interview with CBS afterwards, and they were like, your friend Sam Burns is out there, like, do you think 20 under par is still going to be good enough? And I was like, Burns has still got like 4 or 5 holes to play. I'm pretty sure he was at 19 under at the time. I thought you could see him making a couple of birdies and beating that score. Didn't beat Scheffler's number. So, I mean, again, it's just like, it's a ridiculous sort of standard of golf from Scheffler there, to say the least. But then your guy, Akshay Bhatia, I mean, I didn't watch the end on Saturday night. So I checked the leaderboard Sunday morning. I saw the standings and I thought, okay, they're going deep, they're going low. It's not going to be easy, but he's going to be a big factor coming into this Sunday. But here, man, didn't get it done. What are your thoughts?
But shame, Bhatia, and I wouldn't have watched the whole of Sunday if Ash K wasn't in the running. And as I said, I watched him 2 weeks ago quite meticulously on TGL, playing for Tiger's Jupiter Lynx team, and he was unbelievable. And I thought, as I picked him last week, I thought, Pebble Beach is a course for those crazy shots. He can turn it both ways. He's so creative. I thought this was good for him, and he played unbelievable for 3 days. But I think as a young golfer, I just think the final day got too much of him. I think he was playing with demons in his head. I think he was. It's so hard going to a fight. I've never done it and never will. But going into a final round leading and thinking, how do you approach it? Do you play aggressively? Do you play on the defensive? And I think he was way too defensive. And then when he needed to find the heater that we talk about, that we love to see, he couldn't find it. When Scheffler was bursting, when Morikawa was bursting, he couldn't find any birdies, and he couldn't really find any within 10 feet of any flags. So. Shame for him. His putting was fucking awful. I thought in the last 6 holes he wouldn't even get near the fucking hole. But he looked flat in the end. But I think mentally he was tired and he was done for. I'll give you a reference back as we talked about Thigala. It reminded me like Thigala back when he was like he came fourth, didn't he, in Phoenix? I know we spoke about that last week. A young golfer bursting onto the scene and just mentally just could not get through that final round. And I think that was the case. I think it was all going on upstairs for him, and he couldn't quite manage it. But a good performance from Ashke, but a shame final round.
He's had a solid couple of weeks. The bank account won't be hurt by what he's done the last couple of weeks. But yeah, he gave his caddy gave him a look when they came off 18, and I sort of read into that as it was a bit of a look of that, the caddy was sort of acknowledging that it was tough out there for him and that they'll actually take it as a result, and it's one of those where when you've picked him, it's not what you want to see necessarily. No. You want to see him be a bit more frustrated, but he walked off the 18th green. Where did he finish? It would have been third or fifth or something like that, joint for third or fifth. And you come to the end of the week, you finished third in Phoenix, you finished third or fifth. I can't remember exactly what it was in at Pebble. That's a good couple of weeks for Akshay Bhatia. So yeah, no, I thought it was a very good pick again by you because it proved to be a factor come Sunday. Okay, then moving it on to the unexpected both return of the player and return of the tour. Not that it's ever returned in my eyes; it might just have entered in my eyes. Probably the most. Again, it's a little bit different for you because obviously I can remember when you were telling me obviously I'm mad into my golf now and I'm getting into it, and I thought obviously that would have been 5-6 years ago now, so that's fine. When I first started following elite level golf, Anthony Kim was just starting his regression. He was starting this obviously spiral, which we didn't really know was going to happen. He was sort of a bit of an enigma, Anthony Kim. You can't compare him to anybody in the modern day. He wasn't like anybody else. He was just this new thing. He was meant to be the next Tiger. He was meant to be this person that was going to take over that next generation. He was meant to probably be what McIlroy's ended up being, to be honest with you. Is the closest comparison that I can give. To see him back, even though I never saw him or acknowledged him at his best the first time around, to see him back, to see the story, to see the media get all over it, has been the most I have give a toss about Liv Golf since it started. I mean, I just love the story. Even the last 12 months story, he came back, he was shite. He was shite. And that's fair because he forgot about what golf was. He didn't actually acknowledge golf for about 10 years. He's trying to get his life straight. He played poorly last year. He got relegated. He had to re-qualify, and he's gone and won in Adelaide. Fair play to Anthony Kim. Did you catch much of that?
No, not at all. And you're from obviously an earlier breed of golf fandom, and yeah, I know nothing about Anthony Kim. In my notes, I literally put cool, but does anyone care? I don't care. I don't care about Liv Golf that much, really. I was actually listening to Rick Shields' podcast the other day with Cam Smith talk about Liv Golf, and there's actually some cool ideas they've got going on over there. And I don't like Rick Shields, but fair play. I mean, how shit must everyone else be if Anthony Kim's gone and won? Because I agree with you. I saw some of his highlights from one of his rounds last year when he returned, and he was awful, and he was fat, and to be fair, you can tell me a bit more about what he was like back in the day. Because has he won a major? I don't know, but cool to see. It might help Liv Golf, but I don't really care. So.
I think that's the difference. I think that, as I said, I'm not going to proclaim to be this big Anthony Kim. Like, I wasn't big on him, okay, but he was different. He was different, and
Mm.
there's a couple of things that I like about him. So I'm just going to go on for a couple of minutes about Anthony Kim. We said about Morikawa's trophy drought, okay, and with the help of ChatGPT today, this was a really, really good stat. Obviously, it was 847 days since Morikawa's last one. Since Anthony Kim last won at the Shell Houston Open in 2010, it's been 5,795 days, just under 16 years since he won at elite level golf. Um, yeah, true comeback story. Battled injuries, which caused drug and alcohol addiction. He was walking around Augusta National taking drugs, which I've read today, which is pretty crazy. I wouldn't necessarily defend that as such, but that's what he was doing. He was loose out there, and he was at a low point. But obviously, at his breakout, he's at the time he was only one of 5 people to win 3 times before turning 25 years old on tour. So he was an ascending superstar. And yeah, disappeared for 15 years, forgot what golf was, like just completely didn't care about the game. And yeah, as I said, just getting relegated from Liv, coming back. You know, I see him on social media quite a lot of the time. I mean, I would make a joke about the fact like he doesn't look the same person, as sad as that is. Like, obviously, I don't know if you've seen any before and after pictures, but he just does not look the same.
Mm.
Which is again sad in itself, but in some ways it sort of is almost battle scars about what he's showing battle scars through what he's come through, because absolute hell of a story. And just on about the weekend on its own, he went into, like, I know you said about the quality of the field at Live Golf, but apparently he went into Sunday with a 0.3% chance of winning the golf tournament.
Um,
He was 5 shots back. He was 5 shots back from Rahm and DeChambeau, who were tied at the lead, tied at the top there. Now I know you've got some quality players, your Niemans, your Hattons, a couple of young players who in there who could be really, really top players on Live Golf, on the Live Golf roster, but as I said last weekend, I only care about Live Golf because I want to see how Rahm and DeChambeau are playing. They're bossing that tour. He came from 5 back and won by 3 against those two. He was paired with them both, I'm pretty sure, on the final day. He shot 9 under par on Sunday to win. He had about 7 fist pump moments, like prime Tiger. Like, I saw a post again today. It was like, this is why we fell in love with Anthony Kim, because he was Tiger Woods. He just was. He was young, and he was so exuberant in everything that he did on the golf course. And yeah, to see him come back and to see him win like that is absolutely fantastic. I will put out, I was harsh on Liv Golf last week. Anthony Kim, not that it's going to last too long. I can't imagine. What is he now? He was 25 back then. He's going to be 40-ish, at the moment. So it's not, I can't see it lasting too long, elite level golf from Anthony Kim. But I just thought that's the most I cared about Liv Golf in some time, seeing him win. And just off the back of that, I just want to award Anthony Kim, because I don't know how many chances I'm going to be able to do this. I'm going to award Anthony Kim with my heater of the week, because obviously I know we've had a couple of better scores on the PGA Tour. The scoring technically was slightly tougher on the PGA Tour. You could look into that and do that whole, or who shot the better round? Was it Morikawa on Saturday? I do not give a toss. Anthony Kim, 9 under par, Sunday round, 63 round Adelaide, which looked a tough layout. DeChambeau shot 1 or 2 over. I think he shot 1 over on Sunday. Rahm only shot 1 under. Rahm did shoot 9 under that weekend, but Anthony Kim, fantastic. 4 birdies in a row, 12 through 15, and then another one on 17 to seal the deal. Congratulations, Anthony Kim. You are my heater of the week for this week. And I might pay attention to Liv Golf a little bit more going forward, because I thought that was a fantastic story. We've done heater of the week. That leaves us flop of the week. And flop of the week, obviously, with no DP World Tour this week. We've got a week off
no.
before the Kenya Open, in case you're keen for the Kenya Open this weekend. So no DP World Tour. Ben, flop of the week. Talk us through it.
Yeah, flop of the week, tough one this week. I'm just going to give my prediction for Kenya Open as Jaden Shaper, I reckon, because I just think he's so consistent on the DP World, and you'll love it out there because he's South African. So my flop of the week, tough this week. I've got 3, so I've narrowed it down to 3 people, or three flops. First one is Ashkay Bataya, because his final round was fucking awful, and the way he putted was terrible, and he looked like he sulked a little bit, and his head went down. I thought just don't, which annoyed me. Michael Thorpe Bjornsson +9, bottom of the leaderboard, no cut this week. Did you notice that?
I
So
didn't, but that's because it's a pro-am, I imagine, looking back. So
yeah.
yeah.
So, which surprised me and made it worse for Michael Thorpe Bjornsson because kept playing shit. 79 final round, played so well into the final 3 holes last week, and then since that 16th, whatever he did on 16 went long, he's been shit ever since. And I thought I think I just thought I'd point that out. I've just I've just looked at his score on 18. So he played the back nine first on yesterday, and he made a 9 on 18 yesterday. A 9. So actually,
Mhm.
and then the third flop, which I will give you my one flop, but is the golf course, because again we've just talked about how bad the weather was and all of that, and I just thought, I mean, there was guys, McIlroy and Scheffler shot 9 and 8 under, which I get that they're the two best players in the world, but there was a lot of 63s out there. Min Lee shot 7 under on the final day under pressure. So I thought, what's fuck going on with this golf course? It's almost like I see Pebble Beach as like the American St Andrews. It's short. It is short. There's tough holes out there, but it's short. There's par fives are accessible. There's some short par fours out there. Short enough that Morikawa on 16 hit a 5 with 210 yards and then hit like an 8 iron to 5 feet. I just thought it's short. And I thought with all that wind, they still went low. But to narrow it down, um, to one flop of the week, I'm not gonna give it to Ash K. That's harsh. I'm gonna give it to Pebble Beach, the course, because I just think this great amazing course. I agree with you. When the sun's not out, it looks like shit. I don't actually really want to play it, so it needs the sun. I don't know how much they pay the sun to try and be out, but obviously not enough this week. Windy, but almost makes it easier when it's windy. Greens are too soft. I get it's February, but again, I'd be up for it when a US Open's there because it'll be the easiest US Open of all time coming back there. I get Tiger won there back in the day, but Pebble Beach is the flop of the week. In a week where there wasn't many flops, so I will give it that.
But unlucky Pebble Beach, unlucky. They're probably not moaning too much because Tommy Fleetwood has spent every bit of his paycheck from the week prior in Phoenix. No, he wasn't at Phoenix, excuse me, but he's been in the pro shop and spent every bit of money he has on the stuff in the pro shop, and then Morikawa went and did the same. So the Pebble Beach pro shop's probably laughing at us, but you
Hmm.
are the flop of the week, Pebble Beach Golf Links, and that's unfortunate because, and do you know what? I actually don't mind that shout because it was scoreable, it was short, the weather wasn't good, it was windy. Obviously, the wind does add an element of watchability to it, like you want to see how the players navigate the wind, but still, it wasn't very aesthetically pleasing this weekend. And I always think with events like California is a weird one because there's parts of me that go like, obviously, again, my American sports fan kicks in, and there are parts of California, like I'm pretty sure San Diego's in California. I think
Yeah,
I want to, unless I'm saying making some mad. Yeah, it is. It's San Diego's
yeah, it is.
California. Like San Diego, yeah, San Diego most of the time is like really good weather. Like that's what it's known for. But then as soon as you get by the sea, which everyone wants to go to in California, no matter whether it's the US Open when we go there in June, July, like when's the last time I've actually watched Pebble Beach in good weather? Because I'm pretty sure it was Gary Woodland who won the US Open at Pebble last time it was there, and the weather was
Yeah.
rubbish for that. They were wearing like jumpers in June and stuff like that. It's just like, come on, weather! Like, I wanna see some good weather around Pebble, and it never seems to happen. So I
No,
think your flop of the week's fair.
Pebble Beach is designed to be this is designed to be links and designed to, I guess, being designed to be windy, but we want to see good weather. We're in California. It is an amazing golf course. We'd love to play it. And I put a couple of Pebble Beach holes in my 9 hole draft last week, but I thought it was shit this week. So that Pebble Beach ain't getting away with it. So
Yeah. So unlucky. And if you're thinking, well, I didn't know you could vote the course, you do now because Ben will vote what he likes when he likes. So unlucky Pebble Beach. Hopefully, a better performance this weekend from the players' favourite. All right. How many times do we have to hear about Riviera being the players' favourite? Everybody wants to win at Riviera. Um, the well-known fact is that the great Tiger Woods has never won round Riviera, and I'm sure he's very annoyed about that. I'm sure he's ready to get off the cart and get back out there and try and put something together round Riviera because it's what all the players love. Ben, thoughts going into Riviera? You looking forward to this week?
Excited for Riviera, excited. I again, it's actually one of the best courses to watch. I really think that. And again, because Tiger's played at Riviera for sort of 3 out of the last 6 years. And again, me and you sat on a Saturday night 3 years ago and he shot like 5 or 6 under. So I actually do remember a lot of these holes after watching Tiger religiously. And then again, and then the year later he shanked one on 18 and then walked in and was ill or something. But yeah, cool hole. The first hole's cool, as you spoke about last week. 10th is cool, short par four. There's a couple of par fives on the back nine. 17's a long par five, which is cool. 18's a lovely hole back up the hill into the corner. Some good winners the last few years. I remember Max Homa winning a few years ago. Rahm won when he won the Masters his year. Hideki won there in 2024. Obviously, we didn't play there last year because of the fires, and we went to Torrey Pines, but that's where Aberg won. Cool course, flagship event. I expect a big winner. I'd be surprised if it's not Scotty, as we'll talk about. But yeah, cool event, Tiger's event. Weird that he hosts this event when he's never won there. That's a bit strange, but yeah, cool place.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And yeah, I completely agree. But my grandpa's got a massive picture of, I think it's Bobby Jones hitting one to 18, into 18 at Riviera, and like the crowd up on the hill on the left hand side there. That's from like
Mm,
1930 something or something like that. I'm
yeah.
pretty sure, and that's quite a cool picture. It's always stuck with me, so I always highlight when Riviera's on. I don't know which order to do this because I do know which order to do this actually. You're the hot hand with picks, so I'm keen to know, like, and I think the listeners should be keen to know who you're going to pick because whoever you pick at the moment is in contention come Sunday evening. So Ben, who have you got?
Interesting. I mean, you'll go through some names to watch. I'll just reel off things, the people I was thinking about. I was thinking Jake Knapp. He's a cool looking guy. He's got good hair. I like the look of Jake Knapp. Big, strong player. You might mention him. I'm going to call him Satsuma, but hit Satsuma. But Satsuma's playing well. Again, he's only like 22. He's our age, and he played well yesterday. He shot 67, and he had a 62 at Pebble on Thursday. He's been getting top tens all over the gaff. Like as you said, not Minwoo Lee, who's the other one? Oh my god.
See, we
Who you pick? Siwoo Kim, who actually shot like a 62, shot 65 yesterday. So he went low yesterday, but he didn't have that good a week. Fleetwood played well, Minwoo again, and then someone. So I've been sort of thinking about two players for this week, and I've gone with the American option because I've picked quite a few non-Americans so far, and they have worked out for me. Um, and I really wanted to go Hideki because I think he needs to make amends for his performance last week. He's won there before, so again, people, if you're listening, like I'd put some money on Hideki. He's playing well. But you know what I'm going to go for? And I do think Scheffler will probably win. But my pick is for a top 10 finish to be up there is going to be Sam Burns. And what he did on 18, as I know you touched on it, was fucking awful yesterday. I don't get in what world was he doing. I hope it wasn't some sort of corrupt shit where he wanted Scheffler to win and he decided to hit an iron. But I don't get what he was doing. And he made the shittest par there all day. But I'm going to give it to him. He's a great putt of the ball. Didn't putt well back nine yesterday. Great putter, good player, always plays well for America. And he's been doing all right. And I think he'll go well. He reminds me of Max Homer. Always goes well early season. He's the new Max Homer. I think he'll actually go and win and compete with his mate Scheffler.
Good pick. Good pick. Technically, something I saw Sam Burns doing this week. Obviously, he led last year. I don't know who's leading it this year so far, but he led last year in strokes gained putting on tour.
Yeah.
Technically, one of the things which I absolutely love from him is what he does. He's orthodox with his grip, but what he does is he initially sets up left below right to reset his shoulder line. So if you are orthodox with your grip as a right-hander or a lefty, to be fair, just watch that your shoulders aren't getting open. And I love that as a little bit of a pre-shot routine to make sure that his shoulders are square just before he makes the stroke. I think that was really, really good, which I saw from him this week. Good pick. And obviously now you've picked Sam Burns, I'm going to be on the lookout. I think that's a good pick. I like what you're doing with ascending players that have finished well the week before. I'm going to change my mind last minute because I'll be honest, I think Scheffler will win. So, I mean, I want to put him down, but I don't want to be the guy who picks Scheffler and then he wins and me say that I've got it right. So I'm going to change it because I made some notes on why Scheffler is going to win, and I'm just going to ignore all of it. So I'm going back last minute. You mentioned a couple of my ones to watch. You're going to laugh at this. You're going to laugh at who I'm going to pick, but I couldn't care less. I couldn't care less, all right? So one of the ones to watch, as you said, Matsuyama, he won in 2024. He's had some good finishes in this tournament years prior. One of the two that I'm going to pick, or was going to pick, but obviously I'm not going to pick this one, just another name to watch. Tony Finau loves it around this place. Famously, like I was on the bandwagon. This was the COVID year when there was no fans. I was on the bandwagon of just waiting for Tony Finau to win a big tour event, and he pushed Max Homa when he won it all the way and didn't get the job done. I'm pretty it might have been a playoff that he lost out in. I think it was a playoff that he lost out in, because they went down 17 and he lost down there. He hit it in the bunker from what I remember. Anyway, Tony Finau, he was tied fifth last year. He's been second here twice. And he turned a corner because he hasn't been playing very well recently, Tony Finau. He turned a corner last week because he got on a heater in round one. So I'm just hoping he can take something from that and bring it into this week. But I don't know why I do this to myself, because this guy can't win. He can't seem to win very much. It's like picking. It genuinely is like with respect, it's like picking Spurs. Like I'm hoping he's going to win, because he plays good stuff and I really like him. But then when push comes to shove, he'll probably end up getting beat. God knows why I'm doing this. I'm picking Tommy Fleetwood, okay? Because he's finished tied 5th, tied 10th, and tied 20th in his last 3 here at Riviera. He played well last week. He had a really good finish. This is what Tommy Fleetwood does. He'll be a few off the pace and he'll get on a heater in round 4 and try and shoot a number and win that way. I love Tommy Fleetwood because I don't want to talk about him like that, because in the Ryder Cup he's cold as ice and got nerves of steel, and I don't understand what happens to him in a stroke play format. He's obviously won the FedEx Cup last year, so I'm hoping that monkey's off his back. Tommy, win round Riviera for me, please, or just be in contention and give me something to watch. Don't just barely make the cut. Tommy Fleetwood's my pick, and that's pretty much a very bad pick.
I like that pick. You just aesthetically, I just can't see Tommy Fleetwood winning in America that many more times. It's weird, and I know you're thinking like that, but he's got the game to do it. But again, upstairs has he got it? And yeah, push comes to shove, he never quite gets it done. And I always think his partner lets him down on the big Sundays, and it didn't do it last year in the FedEx playoff. But weird. But I like the pick.
Yeah, I'm riding with it. Burns and Fleetwood this week going into Riviera. Okay, that is our review and preview of the weekend's golf and the weekend's golf coming up. Thank you very much to all of you that have listened. We actually had more listeners last week than we did the week prior, so thank you very much. If you are new and you're listening to us for the first time, do us a favor, because we'd really appreciate it. Subscribe to us on whichever podcast platform that you're listening to us on. Subscribe to us on YouTube as well if you're watching us on YouTube. And if you want to be double amazing, share the podcast to someone who you know likes golf, or wants to maybe learn about golf. Not that we're the messiahs and we'll teach you everything that needs to be taught, but what we can do is offer a little bit of a light-hearted experience when you're going about the golf watching or golf learning process. And we'd love for you to be part of the community as well, and grow this little thing that we've got going on here, because we love speaking about golf. We love coming on every weekend and chatting about golf and arguing about golf at times, which is always good stuff. So yeah, we'd love you to be a part of that. So thank you to all of you that have listened so far this week in today's episode. Even hopefully you'll enjoy the episode that's coming out later in the week on Thursday. But until then, we will leave you to it, and we will catch you later on in the week. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll catch you next time.